Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be back with y'all today. Good to see you, Gale. Good to see you, Brayherd. Good to see you, Bad Roxy. Good to see you, Anitsu. Good to see you, Bacon. Good to see you, Step Zero. Good to see you, Spooky. Good to see you, Scruffy. Good to see you, Beer Fox. Good to see you, Inca. Good to see you, Arium. I think that's everyone. And Gale, congratulations. You have won the crown of Firstendom, the crown of the Skein of Severance. Sounds like a bad idea because isn't a skein like a thing of wool and like cutting it out? Yeah, anyway, we're playing more Kingdom Hearts 3 today. So it's good to have you all here today. And Spooky, totally spooky. Thank you for the raid. And Mel is here. Weird that. And Arium does, in fact, sum it up well. Sora defeats Xehanort. Everybody gets a happy ending. Sora disappears. T-shirt involving mobile game content that will never exist. Hey, Craig. Hey, Grant. Good to see you. Yeah, so we're going to be diving into more Kingdom Hearts 3. Kevin the Reader with 35 watch streak. My goodness. My goodness. No, seeing you and Spooky in the same room. This is true, I guess. Anyway, let's go ahead. Let's dive on into it. The Meep Stinger did not want to be around long today. Okay, so last time, Sora went back to the world of death, and then it was like, I'm gonna go redo the everything. So now we have to redo all of these fights. We're gonna do that one first, because we did the other one the first time. One, So fabulous.
Your Majesty! Huh?
Sora!
Tax purposes. You want me to do the data fights? Ugh. Bruh. You can barely do the normal fights.
Sora, come on! See ya!
Do a little more fights. Waka waka. I'm fighting the Muppets now? How you doing, K-Max? Muppet World Blend. Hey, that's what I'm saying. I'd love to see a Sora Muppet. So Michael Caine worked really well with the Muppets because he treated the Muppets like fellow actors. Tim Curry worked really well with the Muppets because he treated himself like a fellow Muppet. Yeah. Sneer into the distance. Implying that Muppets are not actors? No, that they're not treated like actors.
Exactly what I needed.
Oh no, Sora! I'm not supposed to go back to casinos anymore!
Huh? Sora, look out! Huh?
Oh no, Sora! I'm gonna go into massive damage!
No!
That's sentence Sub-Zero. You're not wrong, but still.
Sora, one final game. The rules are simple. All you have to do to win is find me among these cards and strike me down.
I like how Larxene and Marluxia are just standing around in this cutscene like, whatever.
Don't worry. I'll get you out. So long.
The game continues.
Does it have to?
Choose wisely.
Where is it? Where is it?
What's the matter?
I got lucky there. Marluxia came out at a really weird time, but
It's more fun when I go. Impressive.
you didn't even go that far.
Take this.
It's more fun when you beat the odds.
No, thank you, auto target. I could turn the game off. Where'd the fun in that be?
You were born for these sorts of games.
I'm not playing these games. Jeff Keighley.
What's this?
Ah.
A wild card. You've earned it. Hang on.
Can I
to
just
it.
have Mickey back? He's
Could
really
turn the
handy in this fight.
tables.
Play again someday. When we're just guys.
I should like that very much, Sora.
Man, what you want to bet his real name is something like Ruled? I had a professor who was
Thanks.
Romuald, so I guess it's not that weird.
Come on. See ya.
Let's take out Marluxia this time.
Come on there.
This guy's being dudes and dudes being guys. Wait, do you actually know Straight Outta Junior High? Is this a reference?
You and me.
Or is this just a happy coincidence? Yes? Let's go! Gail introduced me to them in college, so I know exactly which song you're referencing.
It's over.
You've never met another person who's straight out of junior high without me introducing them. They exist, Gail. They exist. Proof. We have found the one.
Back at you. Take this. So long. Here we go.
Are we all a little freaked? No, I'm perfectly normal. So anyway, yeah, on my TED Talk about Kingdom Hearts history,
Settle down. It's over.
Are you ready to go?
that sounds like a bad plan, K-Max. I recommend not.
So now it all comes back to me.
Do you still want to be a bad guy? Well, I'm glad you're not going to. I'm
Hey.
going to reinforce that.
Is that a real laugh?
Yes. My heart is remembering how to feel.
Really?
Is it?
That's good.
And now I am on the cusp of reclaiming my identity,
No, you're not.
my purpose for being. Thanks to you, Sora.
It's time for you to go.
Dream.
See ya.
Got him.
What's the matter?
Back off.
See ya.
We are both just zipping and zooping around here.
See ya.
You're mine. Yeah.
See ya.
Back at you.
Hey.
See ya.
Worm. What's the matter?
There.
Hey.
Come on.
Have you considered losing
What's the matter?
Come on.
to a bouncing mouse?
Hey.
Boingy, 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 boingy. It's the most least serious attack in all of Kingdom Hearts 3, and that's saying something.
No way.
What would I like to see? Balloon spell. Oh, there's that.
Are you kidding?
Honestly,
You're
can they
gonna
just
be
all be Muppets? We'll have
recompleted.
Muppets Christmas Carol, Muppets Treasure Island,
I
Muppets
didn't
Take Manhattan.
ask you for your garbage opinion. I lost to a bunch of losers like you. But could be worse.
I like your funny words, Father Man.
Become that geezer's heart tank. No thanks.
Then
Treasure
why
Planet.
help
I would
him?
love a Treasure Planet world.
I was really just along for the ride.
Were you? With
My secret.
It's Marluxia. She has a crush on Marluxia. Inside Out world. Would Sora be an emotion in that case? Can one feel Sora?
I'll go after Xemnas, while you go find the others.
Moana would be a fun one. Sora gets buffed and debuffed by the emotions. Oh. I'm naivete. I mean Sora.
Riku.
Sora. Hey Rico. Or Pirate Worlds.
Leave it to me.
Who are we gonna play as, chat? Should we play as the person we have been playing as the entire time, or just suddenly play as Rico? We're playing Sora.
Let me take care of this. See you
Because the shortcuts for Riku are weird and throw me off. Hey, dear Hope. Goodbye, handsome. Oh, spooky darkness. Oh, we have never seen anything like this before.
Ansem! Where are you going?
I could rock the villain hair. I used to have a ponytail, so.
Riku!
Ansem the Handsome. Not heard that title before, but sure.
Hey, let's speed it up.
Riku is fighting himself. No,
Keep
this
the
is
line moving.
this is the replica, the spirit of the replica Riku from Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, that was in Castle Oblivion that they've given a new body to so that he could be a vessel for Xehanort.
Who's stronger?
That's all we got, man. Evil Riku. Yeah, it still doesn't make a lot of sense because then there's also the actual spirit of Evil Riku inside of Riku who comes along and is like, I am good now.
Over here. Try this.
That's not confusing at all. No. Yeah, Plato is rolling over in his grave. More so than usual.
Try again. It's over.
Kind of how like the other night we had these potatoes. It was a mashed potato that was stuffed with like ground meat and things, and then shaved back into the form of a potato and fried.
Done with you. Later. Back at you. You better run.
So it was potatoes forming a simulacrum of a potato. Your heart's confusing at all. Told the conference and Docs Codex playing Kingdom Hearts lore. They don't have enough time. I take up the entire weekend. Also, they just announced the clergy keynote, which is really awesome.
Reload. Try again.
I am trying. Riku is not really helping. Kingdom Hearts is less confusing than other people, at least. No. No.
But why?
I work in the realm of interpersonal stuff. Kingdom Hearts is more confusing than people.
You're not real.
Dude, you are so delusional.
I'm the real one.
Aren't
Yeah,
you
Riku's
my
the-
past self? From when Ansem possessed me? No. You beat Ansem and you're still here. This guy is me. I knew it.
Well, and you do work in
It's a
IT, to be
replica.
fair, KMX.
A soon-to-be empty vessel. I've been waiting for a chance like
Padre, I'm
this.
confused about Kingdom Hearts lore. Padre, I can't help you. If you didn't study the flowchart. A replica.
Hey! What are you doing? Take the vessel!
Take the nuclear vessel.
No. The world already has you. There's someone else who needs the replica more. You know who I mean.
Man, the Remind DLC feels so padded because you have to redo all of this and rewatch all. I mean, I could skip the.
You're
the one,
saving
well,
her.
Then I don't get the chance to just. I'm trying to rewatch Search for Whales. Shave the whales.
Good luck.
And evil Riku, who is now good Riku, took evil Riku, who is still evil Riku, away to somewhere. I know you can shave a whale, but that's the joke. It's, you save the whales, shave the whales.
Let's make it interesting.
Space. Are you space?
This one's special.
Here we go!
No one saves the tuna. Well, yeah, that's because tuna leftovers go bad real quickly.
Go! Yeah! Here we go!
You think you're cool teleporting? I'm Sora. I can fly.
Hey, watch it!
Back off!
Reload!
Self doesn't have to be refrigerated. I think you took away the wrong lesson, but
Figures. If I had a Keyblade, it'd be different.
are you sure Sora's
Like
probably
you're
the master of
actually
masters?
worthy to use
that
one?
would still beat you, but
Oh.
anyway.
I am worthy.
What do you mean?
The old coot promised to bequeath me his. Why else do you think I would ever put up with all his nonsense?
But wasn't he going to destroy the whole world?
It'd be
Restart it?
wasted
Or would
on
you be
you.
destroyed with it?
As if.
What?
Goodbye, Zigbar. Hello, Lushu. Wait, what clueless? He has some secret additional knowledge from a phone game or something. Oh. Oh. Oh, yeah. You don't realize how hungry you are? You should fix that. Yeah, you too, Roxy. Please have more than just strawberries for lunch. My goodness. Hot dog!
Is that a replica for Naminé?
Yeah. Wish we could help her now. But first,
I know.
I'm
You've got
going
a
after
lot of
Ansem.
strawberries. Okay, but like, can't just
Okay.
have fruit.
I'll go help the others.
I'll be back. After all of this is over.
Hey!
Huh?
I thought you'd be gone by now.
Hey, new content.
You're the organization.
Whoa, chill out. I'm not here to fight, I promise. Listen, name's Demix.
Why are
It's
Demix's
a long
voice lines
story,
like blowing out?
But I'm sorta on your side.
Like it's crunchy.
Oh, right. Here. See? All the cool kids have one, right? Zex, Yenzo got me this. Enough proof for you?
Why are you here?
I'm on a top secret mission. Apparently, they're looking to find themselves another replica. I heard a rumor that I could maybe find one here from Zex, Yenzo. So, I've just been killing time.
You sure you know what you're doing?
No, he usually doesn't.
Don't worry about it. Not to brag, but I've done this before.
That's not just an empty vessel. It's filled with important memories. Promise me, you'll be careful with it. Deliver it safely, okay?
Demix time.
Chat, I need you to do
The
that
sun's
next
going
time
down.
you leave a conversation. Just point to yourself. Name time, Demix time, Gale time, Father Evan time, and just walk away. Perfectly normal. K-Max time. See, exactly. With Nothing tied to the rest of the conversation. Just don't even acknowledge whatever was last said. You're still gonna say Deming's time. Fair and valid. Oh, that's interesting. They didn't give me a choice here. I had to go to this one first.
Terra!
Look closely. That's not Terra.
You just like
Maybe
Deming
not,
so much.
But I'm still going to keep calling
That's what's
his
gonna
name.
make it funnier when she says
We have to
Deming's
light his way
time.
home.
Then.
Hey, guys. Feeling a little left out here.
Vanitas, you're coming home too.
Huh? But my home is in you. You know what'll happen, right? I'll just
It's not Terra,
disappear
it's
inside
Tiara.
of you forever. Don't you have any love at all for your own brother?
We're not brothers. We're the same.
Well, no, he's actually a manifestation of the darkness from within you. He's really like a part of you that has been made into a whole person,
You
which is
believe that?
incomplete.
Then you really are naive.
Huh?
This may shock you, but we're not the same like you think. I was just hidden deep inside of you for a really long time. All Xehanort did was tear me right out of you.
Yeah, and it almost killed
Then
Ventus.
Go back to where you came from.
Make me.
If it's darkness you're looking for, Ventus, then I have more than enough to go around.
That's a really weird way to phrase that.
Stop. Quit using our friend for your games.
A Keyblade Master wielding your key in anger? Shameful.
We have unfinished business. I fell into darkness. And for 10 years, I wandered through the Dark Realm. Now, I'm finally here. And I want only one thing, with all my heart. Xehanort.
You want Xehanort?
I'm casting you out of Terra forever!
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Okay.
Yeah, we get to do Spellweaver shenanigans.
Over here! Over here! Over here!
Ready when you are.
Ben! Now!
Aqua confirmed to be Beyblade.
It's over.
Nope.
Over here! Over here!
How's Xehanort doing? Where's the Xehanort when you need him? Anyone got a spare Xehanort?
Aqua! Ven!
I'm here to save the day, because you haven't done anything.
I will end this here and now.
I'm gonna
I'm here
keep
too!
playing as
Release my friend's heart.
Give it up!
Sora because he actually has more health and magic and everything. And
Over here!
Back at you!
let anybody have kids. That's a good question. I don't know. Prosciutto Xehanort. I got some nice prosciutto. You want the prosciutto? It was nice with the cheddar.
Give it up!
looked something up on the internet and you believed it?
Break him! Break him!
Oh, no. I rely on the internet. Abraham Lincoln told me so.
Break him! Join the shadows!
Do I have to join the Shadows? They're not a very good team. Anyway, Xehanort's on his last health bar. There he goes. So now we find out Guardian is in fact Terra. Oh, it won't do that until you've finished both fights. That's interesting. Nimoy's son married Jadzia Dax from Deep Space Nine. I'm going to assume that's the character name and not their actual name, but it could be their actual name. I don't know.
Let's go.
Correct? Yes, lol. I don't know what that means. I said both things.
Despair. Back off.
This is a bad idea.
Nope. Give it up.
Weep, 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 weep.
Thank you. Okay, there's the character name. Okay.
Try this.
Annoying. Nope. Back at ya. So long. I need the rest of me.
You're the part. You are not the sub. He looks like Sora. That must mean something. Yeah, there could never be any room for just coincidence.
I'm the piece of Ventus that was taken away. And you're the piece Ventus needed to be whole again. So, why shouldn't you and I look exactly the same?
Why should you? Like, there's no correlation.
Sora, the same way that Ventus does.
I wish they didn't
We
acknowledge
are
this fact.
brothers
I think it
who
would have been
together
more
make
interesting.
A greater whole.
Then why won't you stand by our side? Instead of with darkness?
Because I am darkness.
Hello, my old friend.
And I do stand by your side. I'm the shadow that you cast. How much closer could I be?
See this cutscene? Yeah, you have to rewatch the cutscenes.
But I didn't...
But I didn't ask for this. To be sifted apart, nice and neat. We should be free to
I'm not going to
choose.
skip them just in case there's something new, because
Not just
they have
light,
done that.
Not just darkness. We decide what we are.
But... Ventus, I did decide who I am. You see?
No.
And what you are is darkness?
What I am is darkness.
Why is his Keyblade... If he's based on Vanitas, or Ventus...
Okay.
Why is his Keyblade more like that of...
How is that okay? Vanitas?
Of Xehanort than of Ventus's?
Aqua... Ben...
Terra, please.
Come back! Terra!
I got a bad feeling
Your
about
friends
this.
are here!
You must suffer from migraines. You know, it's a common thing when you have migraines that you manifest chains of darkness. Doctors have been perplexed by this for
You
centuries.
have to fight the darkness!
You'll never be able to break these chains.
Watch
They're
me.
our bonds. You have no power over me!
Can you not summon chains?
Please stop it!
He whips his friends back and forth. He whips his friends back and forth.
Farewell.
No!
Terra, I kept my promise.
They watch him whip. They watch him nay-nay. Now I want to see Terranort doing the whip and nay-nay.
How? You fell to the dark.
This might be the best cage. So you're probably right. It hit really hard the first time.
I will set this right. One day, I will set this right.
I will return to this land and protect my friends.
Terra, now!
Look, it's him using the power of awakening, but he's still not a Keyblade Master! This implies that dive to the heart is in water.
What happened to me?
Which is weird.
I leapt out of Terra's thoughts. And we fought Xehanort together.
Darkness awaits you!
We had to refight all. We had to do all of that again so that we could remember that Guardian is Terra. So we could be like, oh,
That's it! This is Terra's heart. He must have protected me.
he protected you while also fighting you.
Aqua! Ven!
Terra? Is it you?
Yeah. You never stop lighting my way back.
Sora's light probably helped too. Power of hair dye. It's very fast setting.
You're here. I heard you too, Ven. You found me, just like you
Terra's
promised.
three-body problem was lingering well. It's his will. Don't ask questions.
Thank you.
Aqua and Ventus need rest. Terra, look after them.
I guess being
No,
will,
Sora.
it would have been his mind.
I'm going to.
That's what he wants. For us to make a mistake. Put ourselves in danger.
We've never made a mistake before.
Sora, go. We'll catch up with you.
Right. I got this.
Now it's time to save the 358 crowd. This must be a mistake, but what for a Mr. Take?
Well, I guess this was inevitable. Who's the +1?
And Kyrie's here, yeah.
Inevitable indeed. And this guest of ours has an old score to settle with you.
No, actually she doesn't,
You
but...
are a traitor of darkness, as it is of light.
What?
Well, guess I can live with that.
It is a being of whom we have no memories. A true nobody, hailing from the edge of oblivion.
You just don't have memories of it because...
The being before you was recreated from the records that were left by Vexen and the many
game you love to
experiments
hate, Elaine.
performed by young Xehanort.
It was erased from all memories, and it harbors absolutely no knowledge of who it really is. Even
She's
I
listening.
had forgotten its existence. But like the others, I could not recall why. Truly, the perfect pawn created for this very battle.
So, who is it?
You called on one of the new 7 hearts. You must be desperate.
If I'm a traitor, then I guess Kyrie here is the trump card.
So, Kyrie was both one of the old and one of the new 7 hearts,
So
I
it's
think is
not
what's implied there.
desperation I see in you. It's foolishness and lunacy.
Huh?
Without the battle between the 7 lights and 13 darknesses, Kingdom Hearts requires the 7 hearts. That is why we seek to destroy the Guardians. Are you truly
But I thought it was the battle
foolish
between the 7 and the 13 that was
to
going to make
believe you can defeat us?
What do you think?
Why are they so
I
self-contradictory?
think you'll lose, Axel.
Yeah, right!
Axel.
Even if you possess the strength, this being cannot be defeated by your hands. Even if memories are lost from you both.
All right. Let's find out.
Don't you have a Keyblade now? Why didn't you summon your Chakrams?
Keyblade.
It's just like Sora's.
Are you... Is that you, Roxas?
Because cool. Oh, fair.
Roxas.
No, it ain't Roxas.
No, it's not Roxas. Axel.
Oh. Roxas. Axel.
Literally, if you needed an empty vessel, why did you give it personality? Like...
A girl?
So...
You with me?
Yep.
Get more muddied.
Kairi! Axel!
Sora!
Nice to see ya.
Get dunked on, nerd.
Here we go!
Meanwhile, Shion is just kind of doing her own thing. I still don't understand why she's using Sykes' attack there.
Try this! Back at you! Come on! Here we go!
I call on the moon's pale light.
I call on giant tentacles.
Just now!
Man, this fight was going so well before the cutscene.
Xemnas.
There was a time when I trusted you to deal with traitors. And now, your betrayal outstrips them all. What final words do you have for your superior?
Well, let me think about it. How about you were never my superior?
Ah, ever the rogue pawn. Knocked from the board early in the game. Utterly useless.
But if it's a rogue pawn, wouldn't it just like randomly reappear on the board, almost like how Axel does?
Are you kidding?
Anyway.
Do you know how popular I am? I got loads of people rooting for me.
Everyone
Sorry,
at a Hot
boss.
Topic loves me.
No one axes Axel. Got it memorized?
Is this supposed to be a Keyblade? Or is it some sort of joke?
Pew, 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 pew.
Our plans have been dashed by you. Far more times than I care to count. Now it ends.
Like twice.
I will purge that light in you. With darkness. Changing sides again?
We need him alive. You know that.
We only need his heart in order to forge the key. We do not need his soul. Oh. But
That,
that's
actually
right.
kinda goes, that line actually kind of
You
goes
were
hard.
friends. Then, you take his life.
you?
Shut up.
Don't do this. Wait. It's all right. You can stop now.
Stop
It's all
fighting
right.
and running.
Xion.
Yeah, Shion's dive to the heart. Or no, that's Roxas's. Still. It's a really cool one. Oh, it's Naminé's pages. It's the memories.
The memories are returning.
Something, something that hurt.
Oh.
Useless puppet.
Xion!
Your Keyblade is no more. And still you think you can play at being a guardian.
Yeah, that's why Axel's a
of
real hero.
light. You can wait your turn. Also ran.
This is
Time to wake up
Roxas's heart?
Roxas. Yes, it's been hiding in your heart.
Why?
Sora.
Roxas?
I need your help.
That's why he's here.
Got it. I have an idea. Wait for my signal.
Okay.
So it turns out the reason that Sora was able to save everyone is because future Sora went back in time to deal with Sora, who had actually already died and then gone back in time, and to wake up the various hearts in order to prepare them.
Hands off my friends.
It cannot be.
Yeah! Let's go!
Roxas. My turn.
Roxas.
If I get to play as
This
Roxas,
is
I will.
impossible. Where did you get a vessel?
Same as you.
Same how?
Most of the organization's members, they traveled here from the past as hearts. And you had replicas ready and waiting. One for each of them.
Who told you?
I owe my return to many. Some of them people you knew.
Ansem the Wise. Zexion.
And others too. It seems you're not as good at winning over people's hearts as you think.
Ah, I see.
There was one last thing I needed in order for me to be whole again. A connection. Sora helped me find my way back here. To my friends.
Roxas!
This doesn't explain why he had to wait for a signal.
I need your help. There's something me and my friends have to reclaim. Something that connected our hearts. That's what's binding me to this world. The last key. I need your help to get it back.
Got it. I have an idea. Wait for my signal.
No, I understand that. I just don't understand what the signal was.
Roxas! Now!
Oh, there it is.
Hit.
He needed ice cream, yeah. Roxas didn't really pay attention to the signal. Yay! They did something to make Kairi not useless. They showed her is actually competent in battle.
Now watch as your friends slowly vanish into nothing. These useless pawns must be cleared from the board.
Yeah, but Sora's restrained too, so...
New escape! New escape! Get away! New escape!
Roxy! Get away! Now, let's get this started. Yeah!
Yes.
Going somewhere?
Love this track. I think this is either this is like 2 become 1, I think.
Now, a big finale. Eyes out! Time to wake up!
The moon shines down!
I think the moon shines in many directions, but... Wait, 3 tacos? Oh, I know a secret? Sure! It's probably not going to be much of a secret to share in Twitch chat, but you know.
I call on the moon's pale light.
Let's get this started. Yeah!
Yes.
Burn!
That's all.
Kiss ass now!
So much fire.
Eyes out! Time
Mark's left a pad of sticky notes on encounter. I left about 8 sticky notes around the apartment for him to find. Oh. Oh, Mel, you could hide so many more. Or just not even hide them. Just put them everywhere.
Shield! Get what's ours!
Hey, it's his ex-sigil.
Is this...
Put
is
up like
this the sigil?
decoys.
Yeah. That's the mark Xemnas gave us. It's what connected us from the start. It's the foundation.
It was also the tool that he was
of the
keeping an
bond
eye
we
on you
share.
through geolocation sharing. Light fixture. No, they have the power of friendship.
The mark will disappear along with Xemnas, and that's fine. I just wanted to reclaim it for myself. It's how our bond came to be.
This is the connection we needed.
That's why I needed Sora's help. So that we could end this battle. Once and for all.
I don't need hearts. I will
No,
scatter
actually you
them
do.
all to the winds.
You literally need hearts to make Kingdom Hearts.
Kyrie!
What difference does one little light make? You have others. Just as we have more darknesses to replenish our ranks.
Rest, Axel. Roxas will fight in your place. And I'll fight for Kyrie.
Yeah, when it comes to Keyblades,
What do you want for
the
Kingdom
old
Hearts 4?
hands.
It's my turn.
Indiana Jones. 2!
Are all of you ready?
Actually, I'm not surprised.
Get away.
Abandon hope.
Come on. Get away. Get ready. I got it. Heal.
New escape. Get away.
Let's go. Get away.
Kingdom Hearts is so shiny. I can't really tell what's going on half the time in fights like this, but it's so shiny. It's a capable mystery.
Still haven't achieved our goal.
No, and at this rate you won't, except you will, because apparently Xehanort's actually achieving his goal and he hasn't really told you what his goal is. Turns out Xehanort's even using himself as pawns.
Why so sad?
You let them reduce you to this?
I thought you outgrew the marks under your eyes.
So?
You look like you need them.
Okay, Max, if you
Stop
want
it.
a ride
The whole act.
that could be a an attraction
this was
attack,
all for her.
why not just the Indiana Jones ride
At first,
at Disneyland?
I sacrificed everything to try and track her down. You're the one who went off and made other friends. Left her and me both in the dust.
Bro, you were busy
It infuriated me how
leading
you just
things in the
exited our
organization, being all
lives.
evil. Like, you abandoned him.
I lost all sense of purpose.
You're not saying art over with
I
the
didn't
cheek.
forget
Exactly.
Yes, I know. You wouldn't do that.
Oh, Indiana Jones 2 deals with hearts. That's true.
But I was jealous.
You admit it.
Well, if I make it back, you won't get it out of me a second time.
See you, Isa.
See you, Lee.
He'll be back.
You go help Kyrie.
Right.
Why did he say that like a caveman? You go help Kyrie.
Gotta run. Good luck.
All right. What now?
No, no. Give Shion a big hug. Give Shion a big hug. Give her a big hug.
Guess I should have brought some ice cream.
She hasn't existed for many years. Well, actually, a few months in game, but
Ven, Aqua, Terra, Roxas, and me. That's a total of 5 Guardians. I just need to follow the hearts of 2 more. Then I'll reach Kyrie. The question is when.
why is his heart so pixel? I think it's just the glass
Tonight
finish.
already?
Do they need to redo the boss fights and most of the cutscenes for the DLC? Well, if they didn't redo the boss fights, it literally would have been nothing but cutscenes. So at least that, yes. And they do let you fight as
Riku,
someone else for
Your
some of them.
Majesty!
Because you can be Riku, you can be
About time.
Aqua,
Sorry.
you can be Roxas. But like all the cutscenes, yeah, they really could have just trimmed some of them down to just be the new stuff.
Xemnas! Where's Kyrie?
Wait, is she in trouble?
A little.
Yeah, Xemnas took her.
Settle down, boy.
It's Sora!
The 13 darknesses and 7 lights have clashed 9 times, yielding these 9 keys.
Why does this sound different than last week?
Keys?
In my Kingdom
we are
Hearts?
4 short, but those 4 keys will be produced.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Katie.
And now.
I think you could watch this and
Yeah, sure.
you probably won't
And
understand
what
what's
makes
going on
you think
anyway,
there'd
so...
ever be any way we'd help you with that?
You forget I plan for every eventuality.
Kyrie!
If you do summon Kingdom Hearts,
We will defeat you, and we will close it again.
Perhaps. That is, if you survive that long.
Redo this boss fight. Yeah, Christopher Lloyd does sound good. I mean, he's... No, not the keys.
Ah! Riku! King Mickey!
That's checkmate. Are you ready?
Oh.
Got him!
Surrender.
No? I am not Dorothy.
Let's go.
What if we don't even know what we're doing? Then Xemnas can't possibly know our next move. Well, I don't think Xehanort knows what Xehanort is doing, so Xehanort doesn't know Xehanort's next move.
Here we go! Stop him! Now it's good, Sora! Here we go!
Hold on, I need to summon Giant Octopus first. He's just following his heart. Hey look, it's a cool attack that we didn't get to do last time. Because it just didn't exist. Big sword. No, usually don't. It's time for the magic carousel ride. I know I say you don't usually do this during boss fights, but we've literally done this boss fight, so. How will we defeat the forces of darkness? With a carousel.
You ready?
Why is that attack so base boosted?
Back at you! Heal!
Let's go.
What if I avoid your obnoxious attack with Giant Octopus? And every time Carousel's a rhythm game. Yeah, and it's really not a very good one, first of all, but it's also a prototype of Melody of Memory when you think about it.
Surrender to it.
Are you ready to help? Join me.
Boinky, boinky, boinky.
What's so funny?
I told you. There's a high price to pay for all of this.
And what price would that be?
I'll go back to my time and live out my life. But Sora, you're done now. Your journey ends here.
What?
Goodbye, Sora. Your time in this world is...
Bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Good luck finding your dad.
You think you earned a Xavier? What, by watching Kingdom Hearts?
All begins and ends in darkness.
Watching Kingdom Hearts earns a Xavier? If watching Kingdom Hearts earns a Xavier, what does playing Kingdom Hearts earn? Camelback? Let me use my Camelback more. 2 Xaviers. Oh. Oh no, a catch a sat in your lap. Well, fate has chosen you. It has been nice knowing you, K-Max, but this is where you will live for the rest of your life.
You ready?
2 Xavier, the Crowler.
The darkness.
Or is it a Xavier? Look, anyone over the age of 21 can day drink. I'm not, like...
Ansem.
I generally don't recommend it on a day-to-day basis, but...
What a journey you and
on individual
I have
cases,
had.
sure.
You know, it's strange. I think I'm gonna miss you.
With every shot so far.
Your strength is vaster than darkness. I knew I never stood a chance. Part of me wanted to defy my fate. But when the others betrayed us, I found I did not care. And then
Jensen has the best plan. No one else
nothing
has a
else
plan.
seemed to matter anymore.
Ansem.
What? It is time to move on, boy. There is more to seek. So go forth now.
The Seeker of Darkness is telling me to seek it? Weird. I made that same joke last week. Jensen's plan, sit back and let Sora make you figure it out. Yeah, but he does show up at one point and it's like, I'm gonna summon a giant thing of light. Oh, that is so baloney. I had Storm Flag ready on the triangle. And the game was like, nah, you lost out on that.
Surrender.
Pay attention. Be gone.
You know what? I will defeat with the power of a carousel. Childlike bewilderment. Wow, that did barely any damage to him. I don't know why they gave you that attack. He doesn't even really get in range.
Bested yet again.
I know that you have a heart. What do you feel? Was it worth it?
I feel the emptiness where my companions once stood. I took them for granted. And now I have nothing. My first surge of emotion in years. for as long as I can remember. And it's loneliness. Do you see?
Yeah.
A heart.
You could have been
just
set up
pain.
for success if, you know,
Pain is being
you
human.
had shown
Xemnas.
evil.
Really? It must take incredible strength.
Twelve keys we have now. Leaving just one more. Now, Sora. Darkness and light's final clash.
Kairi!
You require motivation.
This is a problem.
Kairi! Why her?
Does this mean we failed?
Why?
I have done it.
Xehanort!
You okay? Ultima!
Xehanort's that kid at the playground. Like, no, you can't touch me.
Your Majesty! Riku!
Now, the Keyblade War will finally reach its conclusion.
Hey, Britt.
Ah, the Keyblade is complete. Kingdom Hearts, I call upon your true form. Open now
Okay,
and
man.
show me the world to come.
I fared quite well. I won by 0.05 points. With Sister Nancy coming in a very close second. See, Kingdom Hearts is darkness. Dude, you had to turn it to darkness. It was clearly light.
Oh, don't give up.
We thought you might be able to use a couple of more half points.
Donald. Goofy.
Typical. You can't do anything without us, Sora.
Oh, Donald.
Sora.
Those tears. And let's go
Your
stop
Majesty?
Master Xehanort.
It's me! I'm glad my voice is reaching you.
He controls Kingdom Hearts now. And Your Majesty, Kairi's... You worried?
I know, but we can still save her.
Guys, what's happening?
Took so long.
Master Xehanort's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve.
It's got pretty big
Kyrie's one of the
sleeves.
7 hearts, which is why he crystallized her, so he can use her as insurance until Kingdom Hearts is opened. She's his last resort.
What do you mean she's crystallized?
Then how do we get her back?
We've still got one hope.
Princess, not really.
Your Majesty, Riku, are you okay?
We're fine.
Yeah.
What hope?
Looked away, look back. Meep in air. Yeah,
It's
it could be like
Xehanort.
that.
During the Mark of Mastery exam, we learned that he can transcend space and time. He's a portal, and we can use that to trap him.
That feels like a leap of
It won't be easy.
knowledge, but
Aqua, Riku, I'll need both your help if we're gonna push Xehanort out of this world.
Understood.
Wait! I'll do it.
What?
Kingdom Hearts is a much bigger threat. Let me handle Xehanort, while you guys keep it shut.
also Invisalign. Just hanging out with the crew.
Right.
Okay, Sora.
I got this.
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone pull black in a while.
Huh?
You can't forget about us.
Oh,
Without
gee,
Keyblades, it's not like we'll be much help here. Oh.
3 half pints together again.
Let's move. The darkness is spreading.
No, it looks like it's spread already.
Sora,
Huh? Oh. Hey.
Kairi will be all right. I can feel it.
Thank you. Do it! And so, the final battle ended, but Kairi didn't return. Even if I continue the search with my past self, I won't find her. What should I do?
Well, you still have 2 more hearts you're
Kairi.
supposed to go through.
Where are you? Master Xehanort's portal. Huh? That's it!
What's it? You literally are like, well, if I follow him, I still will follow by Kairi.
Where am I? Did it work? The other me's not here yet. Gotta look for Kairi while I can. Huh, yeah. Yeah.
And by look for Kairi all we can, he means take a commercial break. Because it's 5 minutes before, and this seems like a nice time to take a quick commercial break. So, take the chance to get up, stretch your legs, get a drink of water, do what you need to do. We will be back in about 3-ish minutes. So, one of these days you'll make Father laugh again. I've never been known to laugh in my life. Anyway, see y'all real soon. So standing. So now you are Goblin. Oh boy, Goblin. Wow. 3 city council members responded. That's pretty good. Was it more than just a form email too? Kairi, walking in the same place Xehanort was walking.
Kairi!
Why are these Heartless red?
One of them looks different from the others.
Oh, it's just the one, okay. And it has a lot of health. Symbolism? Could it mean something? Kairi, I'll save you. I'm just gonna beat up on this one Heartless. I'm on a boat. Because I'm reading chat. A little late, but you know, here we are. Get out of your wizards and your cubes. I'm a wizard and you cannot dismiss me so casually. I will, Calmage. I will dismiss you so hard because of your cubes. Yes, Toxoplasmosis. Joke's on you, I already have it. How are you and Neb and the baby doing, Calmage? I forgot what the baby code name is. Where, oh where is Kairi? There she is. Kairi, I'm just trying to save you. Totoro, Couch-chan. Good. How's the day yesterday? You guys sleep all day? Nice. We go over to see Grandma. Aww. Wizard! You're not hard, you're just obnoxious as an enemy. He moved the other day and Jones just was sure. It was okay. Just okay.
What's this?
It's a piece of Kairi's soul.
I can feel Kairi's heart.
You can't see it, but there's a 5-petal thing
Kairi!
behind me.
I need to find Kairi. Nice.
Okay, good. I do have a Kupo coin. Dang it, I don't have Damascus. See, this feels like what this should have been in the base game, where you actually get to like explore the city and do fights. I haven't seen a differently colored one yet, like the Kairi pink one. Again, I am just in the starting area of this section, I guess. It's an interestingly shaped windmill. Hey, have you guys seen Kairi? No? Okay. What about you? Have you seen Kairi? Live just south. So you got baptized and confirmed. Baptized your son? Aw. One more rundown. And I'm going to guess it is a non-zero distance in terms of like driving from one to the other from the new place. On the other side of town. Okay, well, Kairi's not here either.
An empty fountain with no water? Take this! See, that's how it works.
I got all 5 spinning, or all 4, I thought. You have to get them spinning up sufficiently.
Over. See ya.
Go away! Before churches more. Except my old church attack masses. Yeah, well, that can also honestly just depend entirely on demographical realities of who lives in the area in terms of like how many people are there.
Back off! Here we go! Got him! Back at you! Got him!
There can also be some of if you build they will come. So like if the more masses you offer, the crowd can draw. Because you're probably attracting folks at different times of the day. And
Take this! Back off! Try this!
I guess it's not around here.
What? You literally found one around here, though. I thought we'd do that fight and the gate would open to the next area, but apparently not. Seems like a place to do a fight. And yet, there's no one here. Yeah, a lot of Latin allergies, so I was happy. Well, there you go. Oh no! Nope, Sora. Sora. Treasure chest.
I can sense Kyrie's heart over there.
Game, you can't just say over there. What are ladders? Hey, Bree. Totally digital gets its chest. Yeah. Totally didn't fall by accident at all. None whatsoever. No, I'm not looking for you guys. I'm looking for a piece of Kyrie's heart that's down here. One of the levels is a straight line. Yeah, but it's not a straight line.
So long! Here we go! Heal! It's over! There! See ya! Here we go! Come on! Back off! So long! Heal!
The combat here is actually more interesting than the boss fights for that entire boss rush section.
I gotta smash this to get to Kyrie's heart.
I don't know if you have to smash it. You could have... Yeah, I
It
understand,
looks like
game.
I can climb this wall.
Thank you for telegraphing it, game.
Yeah.
Tata fruits.
Back off!
You ever feel like your soul's been separated into 5 crystallized petals and spread across an ancient city? Nah, me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see anything in this area with the Heartless. So... I do also appreciate that it's not all fights, that they do break it up with puzzles.
Try this!
I mean, it's Kingdom Hearts, so the puzzles aren't complicated, but...
So long! Here we go! There!
Tell me where Kyrie is!
Back at you!
Oh, there's something glowing bright pink.
What is this thing?
Oh. Oh, I remember this. I remember this and I hate this. No. We're so close. There we go. Scala ad Kylum. I was going to call it Kylorum, but that's wrong. It's just like a puzzle in Skyrim. Look, I didn't say the puzzles in Kingdom Hearts were hard. Hey, look, I was right. There is a fight there. This is not a regulation chessboard.
Yeah.
It's a 12 by 12. I don't think
I
you're
guess it's
supposed
not around here. That's Kyrie's heart.
Well, a piece of it.
Here we go! It's over!
I always appreciate a fight with the dark side. They're always such wonderfully imposing enemies.
Come on! Yeah! Take this! Got him!
Did someone steal Father's sweet roll? No, they put a bucket over my head, so I didn't notice.
Heal! Yeah! 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 Back off! Here we go!
Give me back my friend's heart!
Come on! Yeah! Yeah! Take this!
Which I think the implication is that you are the darkness manifestation of her heart.
So long!
That's 5. How many more?
There are 2 more.
Huh?
Oh,
Because 7 pieces of light?
why are you here?
I am the one who hid the fragments of Kyrie that you seek. Of course I am here. No matter. Did you come alone?
Yeah.
But I came with my friends because they're my power.
Are you prepared to pay the ultimate price?
Enough! It's only 2! I'm saving Kyrie!
Unfortunately, you're a little too late.
Huh?
No, there's still time. I still got this.
Oh no.
It appears you have failed to retrieve Kyrie in the time to come. So here you are, once again, in times already past. However, now that the other you has arrived, you're doomed to repeat the same fate.
What can I do?
Learn to time travel better, Sora.
What indeed. You are nearly out of time.
Traveling to your own heart.
Ready?
Took too long, got speed run.
Huh? Yeah, 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 yeah. Huh.
I've beaten you once before, I'll beat you again. In fact, I have more levels now. And more MP, because that's basically all they give you when you complete a boss fight in this section is more MP.
Yeah, water. Yeah. It's over. Yeah. Got him. Yeah. There.
This is a nice rearrangement of this piece. Nice re-instrumentation. Had a lot of piano use back there. Well, I do appreciate that. I guess. I think that's compliments. Look, Donald, I get that, but I don't know where they went. There's they are.
Back at you.
Hey, look, it's the Vanitas one.
Here we go.
I wonder what Keyblade they'll give Mushu, other than the Master's Keyblade. Because presumably he had one at some point. Okay, that's ominous and looks really cool. Oh no, it's all sorts of danger lasers.
Back at you. Take this. Heal. Got him.
My shield's ready!
Thank you, Goofy, you're just in time. Nope. Sora, quit attacking the plants and please. Father has other responsibilities. Sora? Oh, dang, I didn't want to use my Koopa coin there. I was actually trying to get out of there because I do have some basic healing items. Being elected to the USCCB. You don't get elected to the USCCB. They have open listings that you can apply for as a priest, and if you're a bishop, then you are appointed by your peers, but... I have worked at the USCCB, by the way.
Of all the places to be sent.
I had an internship position there as a seminarian.
Master Xehanort!
I feel like...
Behold this
Hey,
town.
Peter. No.
Once a seat of power for all Keyblade wielders. It is the nexus from which all worlds spring.
Would it be Peter becoming Pope? Put your name in the running. There's people who want to run what they are calling an imperfect, not assembly, and not a council. I forget what they're calling it. It's heavily, air quotes, imperfect. And they're going to attempt to elect another pope.
United in Scholar and Coil.
No, it's not Synod. What is it? I read about it and I just rolled my eyes because it's a bunch of scientific contests. His mom and stepdad voted for him. That's a real election.
Let's get
Darkness
it.
sounds like it hurts. Yeah, it does sound like it takes a pretty serious toll on you.
You guys okay?
Whoa! When did we get to a Christopher Nolan movie like Gorsh?
I managed to come back. But now what? At this rate, I'll run out of time to get Kyrie back. Just two more fragments. Wait. What if I can trace the hearts of two more Guardians? But how? Everyone always told me to just follow my heart. But follow my heart. Hearts are all connected. Trace the connection.
Sora has red string on his
That's it.
on his board right now, figuring it all out. Was Riku's heart just hanging out up there above you the whole time? You just didn't look up? Maybe the real hearts. Look, my friends are my power is one of the taglines of the game. I think that already counts. I think that's already one of the lessons.
Everybody, be strong.
Hang in
So,
there.
if we can't stop him, what happens?
Well, the world will end.
I don't know. But there's no question in my mind that that's the true Kingdom Hearts. I can't imagine what'll happen if he
Void Sloth,
succeeds.
thank you for the follow.
If we hold it back, it might vanish.
No. Only the Keyblade has the power to stop it.
But
We all need to trust Sora.
That's right.
I mean, I trust Sora, but I also know Sora. Maybe we need to do something more. Just maybe.
look.
Huh?
Oh yeah, that's a problem.
It's all over, Xehanort!
He's summoning Kingdom Hearts inside of Kingdom Hearts.
Do you see that?
Get ready!
It's the hearts of all the worlds.
This is some serious trouble.
Jill!
Thanks, Roxas.
Oh.
Oh dear, they all have the Keyblade now.
We're trapped!
Come on. We all have to work together.
Trust our bond.
Riku, are you ready?
Yeah, we can do this. Let's go.
Get out of here. Well, it's certainly cinematic, I'll give it that. Oh no, I have been bamboozled. Ah, the attack is called Successor. Because Riku is the successor to Terra's lineage. And Keyblade wielding its actual plot points established in the first place. Anyway,
Guys, it's up to us.
Button
We
Mash
gotta protect
QTE,
everybody.
yeah.
Yes.
It's a playable
Let's
movie.
work together.
But I still think it's And I seem to recall the boss fight after this being a pretty cool one. So.
Not bad for an on-the-fly kid, right?
Don't talk. Fight.
You're telling him to not talk? I mean, have you met him? Well, probably not. You just literally got here, but still.
Be careful!
Can't fool me that easily.
Are you all right, Ben?
Yeah, no sweat.
Ah, I was too early on that one. So where we're at on this fight, because we have finished off 5 of their 9 health bars.
Roxas, was it? You're pretty good. Yeah, well, you're not too bad yourself. Be careful! We all right? We're fine.
We're doing fine. We're doing fine. We have lots of help. We're fine.
Watch closely and be on your guard.
Ah. What? I pressed Reflega. You know, when you think about it, parry mechanics are just QTEs without any visual signals.
That makes 6.
What? Oh no!
Mickey! Riku!
Riku, you can't take the keys with you. We need to drive the minivan this weekend.
Oh no.
That's some solid air.
Ah, this is what you get for being the king.
Stand up! Stand up! Stand up! Get up! Nope, you're not allowed to quit yet.
Mickey!
I can't give up. I have to get closer.
Hope you like playable cutscenes. Ow. Hey, JM. Oh, your special childhood stuffed animals and Mickey. That's awesome. End of the rats. I'm going to assume you mean Xehanort is the rat in this case. Ah. I wasn't paying attention.
The bond we share will give me power.
T6 is so rough on crate. It's the goal. North's red. Oh. Ow. This section of the game's a minigame blitz. I mean, honestly, a lot of this game is arguably just a minigame blitz. Ow, I pressed X. I disagree.
I have to protect the light.
Arguably, this section is like a rhythm game. What? I didn't even get the prompt to deflect it. Michael D. Mouse, cousin of Michael Entertainment Cheese. Sorry, Charles Entertainment Cheese.
We are, all of us.
I find it interesting because, like, I know using the Final Fantasy system, light, holy, those are all kind of synonymous. And Mickey is a guardian of light, and all his special magic is light-based. That's why he has Ultima. But it's interesting that a lot of his stuff is faith-based in itself. It's just interesting.
Let the light connect us. Sora, what are you doing here? Is it really you?
Yeah, but it's me from like 30 minutes in
I
the future.
traced the connection. From me to Riku, then Riku to you. That's 7. All the lights I needed, including yours. I'll handle the rest.
Sora, you're kind of talking like Xehanort.
Let's talk about the Filioque, y'all. So in today's gospel, Jesus is talking about how he'll send the Spirit, and it gets really interesting when we talk about the understanding of the Father, Son, and Spirit and their interrelationship.
Where am I?
And the Spirit has
That
what we
light.
call in theology the eternal procession of the
King's light.
Spirit. And so it matters, though, because of how we understand the Trinity, their interrelationship, and how they are all at work within our life of salvation.
That's it! I'll just connect this light. Gotta aim it just right. It worked!
Oh yeah, this mini game. That's really not much of a mini game, but it's more just a busy box. Nope. Oh, why is aiming this so weird? Y is not inverted, that's why. It's kind of like Minesweeper, you know, you click on one square and just like a million disappear. Minigame Parts 3. I mean, if we want to get into it, we could argue that a lot of games are just a collection of minigames. This is weirdly one where, like, normally I am in favor of, like, let me do the thing. Like, especially if it's a fight. But, like, this is one where I'm like, this could just stay at a cutscene and I'd be just as happy.
Here we go!
I'm pretty sure on my first playthrough when I did that, I just held the controller left and just kept going pew 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 until I had enough. Behold the multiverse. It's a lot of keys.
Sora.
Yeah, imagine the janitor with keyring. Like, no, it's not that. Not that one. Not that one. He's in. No, it's not that one.
Guys! Kyrie?
This Marvel got into playing some Magic the Gathering. No, that was through capitalism. Is Sora a Mary Sue? Well, he doesn't play in a band. But otherwise, probably, yeah. But it might actually, like, canonically be reasonable because he might actually be the Master of Masters.
Kyrie!
Sora!
He does fail, but he tends to fail upward a lot. Like, from a meta perspective.
Kyrie, are you ready for this?
Huh? Yes.
What is he doing out here now? I don't know, but...
I can do this.
I kind of wanted to try playing as Kyrie because this is literally the first time in the series we have gotten the ability to, so... You know what? We're gonna play as Kyrie. Just have to know that triangle's... Oh, she has like so little health compared to Sora. Dang, she's fast though. I missed the QTE because I didn't know it was going to be a QTE. Okay, not gonna lie, Kyrie in combat kind of goes pretty hard. Where's this taking place relative to the original plot? This is parallel to the final fight that Sora is doing with Xehanort inside of Kingdom Hearts. I don't know where she just went just now, but you know what? Everything worked out. So
Light!
wait, One-Winged Angels. Sephiroth. Out of all the playable characters in Remind, Kairi has the cleanest moveset. I mean, I don't know. I think Roxas is a pretty nice clean set. Moveset. But I'm a Roxas fan, so, you know. No, I'd like to go down to the ground where the fight is, please. Thank you. I'm sorry, his face peeking out of the armor is just so unserious to me. And did Kairi become a Keyblade Master? Well, she's not a Keyblade Master. They did accelerate her education by putting her in a realm where time flowed? Where time was different, so that she can actually learn combat better and Keyblade skills. But she has not taken the Mark of Mastery yet. Roxas lack of shot lock and options is rough. That's fair, but I also forget shot lock's a thing, so it doesn't really affect me that badly. Nope, wrong button. Whoa, what? Okay, that's a very different shot lock. Sorry, you want to do something about this? Thank you. Ow. I feel like right now is maybe not the best time to try and use this shot lock attack, but I want to use this shot lock attack. There we go.
Kairi!
Light!
Sephiroth!
Also, I beat Final Fantasy VII Remake over the weekend. I did not like the ending. I thought it was too over the top compared to the rest of the game. And it just felt like fan service. You have no chance to survive. Make your time. Ow. Rude. Hey, Trilly. What do you mean? The ending is it's the finger. I mean, yes, it is, but it's also just like visually. It's like, hey, look, it's just like the movie. It's how you remember Final Fantasy, not what Final Fantasy actually was. Also, I'm not really loving playing as I don't like what's her name? Yuffie as a character. I think she's obnoxious. But I love her combat. It's the most fun I've had. In the game, so, you know. Make Samus down be effective. Look, it's the real 7 Guardians of Light. Notice that Sora isn't one of them. Amazingly, yes, Peter, it does. Also, doesn't this imply that they're, like, since this is chronologically a different Sora? Or did he just rewrite time again? I don't even know. Because, like, shouldn't they be, like, Sora will exit Kingdom Hearts. And should they be like, didn't we just see you over there? Anyway.
My friends are my power.
He said the thing! Everybody drink! Water. Don't think about it? Yeah. And they all lived happily ever after.
Where are Sora and Kairi? They were here.
They were. But as long as they're together, they'll be all right.
Huh?
Scuffed audio from Rico.
Now,
Scuffed audio from a
let's go
lot of
follow
people.
Sora's heart.
Like, Devix was pretty scuffed. It's like they were like, dang it, we forgot to record the English lines. Quick, get him on the phone. It'll be good. It'll be fine. No one will notice. iPhones are fine. I just locked an item slot. Didn't I just finish the DLC, though? So what would I care?
It's so pretty.
I mean, as Afterlives go, it's very peaceful, but it's very boring.
Oh.
What do I think of friendship? Can't stand the stuff. Need to live in isolation.
Kairi, come on. Everyone's waiting. Oh.
Do you get Chirithy
What's
noises?
wrong? Well, my friend should be here, but... Hey! Chirithy!
Oh, no Chirithy noises?
Hey, why didn't you say something?
I was just trying to give you some privacy.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, likewise. I'm glad you're okay.
Chirithy, we're heading home. You should come with us.
What?
Take it from me. It's not enough to wait for someone you care about. It's true that hearts are connected wherever you are. If it's impossible to be together, then all you can do is wait. But if it is possible to be together, then that's how it should be.
Sora.
You know, this really is a beautiful place, but you'd enjoy it so much more with someone you care about. Before, when I was looking around with Kairi, I remembered how important it is to share moments with friends. That's why
That's a
you're coming
lesson.
with us. I'm taking you to see your friend, Chirithy. Okay, let's go.
It feels like a lot of the words boil down to the real treasure was the friends we made along the way. Yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong. And that's the Remind DLC. There is more. There's extra fights you can do, and we'll be taking a look at those. But for plot, I think that's really it. Or if there's more plot, I just didn't know that, and they don't make it obvious. Oh, what I think of the remake Moogles? The only remake Moogle I came across was the one in the slums who's a kid wearing a costume, and that's what, like, whatever. Mickey gets more of a moment with his dog than with his wife. Yeah. Mickey misses calling to the breeze. Oh no. I don't know how badly I want to do like the opening of Mass in a Mickey voice right now, but I'm not going to.
Aha! I have some self-constraint.
Watch the other Remind cutscenes. Which ones are you talking about? Oh, for Limit Cut and Secret Episode. Yeah, we'll be taking a look at those. Probably not today, because we don't have a ton of time left, but I know how long a Kingdom Hearts cutscene goes. I thought we were supposed to be inconspicuous when we travel to other worlds. Oh no, it had to go all silent. Also, Isa, all is forgiven. You're fine. It's a seashell. You eat it. Where did Selfie walk in, Titus go. They're on the mainland going to school, like responsible children. Which game had the best ending, in my opinion? Like, standing on its own, probably one. Like, 2's is pretty satisfying, too, but Birth by Sleep Volume 2 had the best ending. Yeah, Selfie was shown as one of Kyrie's friends, and they're on the mainland. Okay, we saw that cutscene last time. This is new. Like, I get why Sora is here since he paid the ultimate price, but I don't get why Riku's here. And this whole thing where it's like the world is spinning around, it just feels like small farm town guy goes to big city for the first time. Kingdom Hearts Wars Reverse is a guy. But it's legally not Shibuya because it's actually in the Verum Rex universe because Yuzori is here. See? Please, someone just let him make Final Fantasy 13 verses. Also, someone in a cloak. Who is it? Could be literally anyone at this point. Could it be the Master of Masters? Maybe. It could also just be Axel. Limit Cut episode. So is this just a movie? Like, how do I access the data fights? It's a movie that leads to the save zone before the data fights. See, and it's not labeled Remind, so this is why I've never played this before, because I think I looked at this and said, that's not Remind, that's not the DLC, that's just whatever, so, like, I don't care. How do I access the data? Me, I'm awake, I'm here. Not that data.
Look at you.
Thanks. I finally fulfilled my promise to you.
How does this have better
You
audio
did.
than Remind?
Now there's nothing left for me to teach you. You're a true Keyblade master. Not to mention a great leader to those around you. You've even found the strength to save your friends.
It's not enough.
Is this a Nobuyo soundtrack? No, it's
The very fact that you were able to make your way here
Yoko Shimomura.
proves just how strong you are. That is why I called for you.
Well, that's the reason?
You expected more?
Yes.
New unseen videos, yeah.
Hey, you two. What's so funny?
It's a secret.
Oh,
Rude.
come on. Tell me.
It's for Keyblade Masters only.
Are you sure about this?
Yes. But don't worry. I'm not alone this time.
Yeah.
So Riku's just gonna house sit for them, is that it?
Oh.
Riku's like, I gotta get me one of those. I like to think the capes are part of the formal version of the armor.
Good luck.
Also, it is very unclear to me in the ending of how Sora is banished by paying the ultimate price, but Harry's back. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but that's just me. Kamen Rider! A little bit.
But if
Whoa,
we
who
still
are these
remember
characters?
him, then he must still be with us.
Yes, that would stand to reason.
But we've been searching everywhere for Sora, and we haven't found a single clue. If he's really out there, don't you think we would have found something by now?
Sid's been looking into the data for a year now. Aren't the people at the castle doing the same thing? No one's found anything yet?
Well, it's outside their field of expertise.
Come on, Sid. Can you throw us a bone here, please?
Be quiet! I'm trying. I'm this close to something, I know it!
Sid, you are a million times worse than a broken record.
By the way, how are the others?
Well, Mickey, Donald, and Goofy are searching for clues in every past world that Sora's been to. Terra, Ven,
Except for
and
Tarzan
Aqua
World,
went
or
to the
oddly
realm of
enough, they can't
darkness,
get there.
And the Twilight Town gang are studying Roxas and Shion's memories.
And what about Kairi?
Kairi. She believes her heart might hold a clue about Sora.
So we're gonna play a
For
rhythm
year,
game to figure
she's
it
been
out.
sound asleep while they search her heart.
So there's been no progress.
What in the... What in the world is this?
What is it?
This computer, the one in Twilight Town, and the one in the castle are all connected to the same network. They sent me all of their data, and I merged it with the stuff I already had, and looky here.
Sora.
Sora's inside the computer?
Again?
No, that's just the data
That's
I
the fourth
constructed based
time.
on Sora and his fighting abilities.
So you gave us a heart attack for nothing?
How many dinosaurs are we gonna make?
No, that group Sora was fighting, battalion something? Well, I recreated their data too.
The real Organization 13. Maybe their data will lead us to where Sora is.
Well, it crossed my mind, but I must be better at this than I thought, because their data, it's so powerful I can't access any of it.
Can you use Sora's data to gain access?
Oh, good idea. Worth a shot.
Yeah, let's try.
I want to explore or not Twilight Town, Radiant Garden. To use data greeting, your current data needs to be saved. Position characters and objects. This is not what I expected to find here today. A photo mode. Yeah, I was not... What a weird photo editor. I... This is not what I expected to find. This is of course. Oh yeah, we can't include Final Fantasy characters in this game, but we're gonna include all the Dream Eaters. The gang's all here. The gang's all here. Sora, Dark Riku, and the Highwind. Ah, get me out of here. Get me out of here before I lose my mind. Grab a quick screenshot. Well, I guess because of how I've saved this, I can never go back to earlier worlds. I didn't think about that. Oh well.
I guess I need to check these. This one isn't responding yet.
Let's... Wait, which one's this? Oh, Ansem. That makes sense. Okay. Let's try Vanitas. Oh, there's an option when I load. Oh, okay.
I've been waiting for this.
Either way, I'm kind of indifferent. 'Cause I'm not. Ow. What do you mean I'm gonna have to learn to block?
This one isn't responding yet.
Why resist the emptiness?
If I don't touch the ground...
Leaving? No more.
It's over.
Oh yeah, no, the new... I have listened to the music. That's in the OST. That explains where these came from. Because like I found them on the OST. I was like, where did these come from?
Pay attention. No more. I banish you to
Well,
the
I
void.
took out a couple of his health bars, so I'm going to count that as a win. And on that note, that's where we're going to call it. It's a nice wrap up. We'll find time to watch more of those cutscenes. Air step. I have like 3 air steps equipped. I'm just not good at it. There's a reason why I play on normal difficulty. I'm not that good at games. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I did beat all the Lark scenes I attempted. I have not. There's a reason I didn't go to her data fight. Anyway, join us again tomorrow. We're playing Keeper. Wednesday, Minecraft. Thursday, no stream. I'm going to Ohio for a baptism. So I won't be able to stream. Monday, I may or may not stream. It kind of depends on when my flight gets back, and because I should be back, but you know how air travel be these days. So let's not necessarily plan on anything. So I think that's everything. So thank you to everyone who's liked, followed, subscribed, given bits, all that good jazz. Thank you for checking out the YouTube and the Discord. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and let's see who's live that we can raid into. Oh, Peter the Tony just started. I haven't been able to raid him in a while. Raid call is Father Raid or Hearts we made along the way, Friends we made along the way, something like that. Go annoy. I mean, go give Pete Tony some love. No, he's a good dude. He's probably playing Slay the Spire 2 because that's what he does. Anyway, hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. God bless.